Hi everybody, hope that you're doing well. The announcement to start off class is be sure to submit your rough draft for peer review. So put that call to action paper up on the discussion board, and then this week your peers will respond to it so that you can get some advice for how to move forward before we submit those final drafts of the call to action. Objectives for today, we're going to review peer review strategies and discuss reverse outlines. Reverse outlines are my favorite revision strategy, so I hope that you'll use a reverse outline not only for your own writing to get it ready for turning in the final version of the call to action, but also in order to help you give feedback on other people's writing for peer review. Okay, what to do for peer review? Go to the discussions page, read 2 rough drafts, and reply to your classmates with feedback for how they can revise the paper. Everyone should get feedback from 2 classmates. If you see that 2 classmates have already responded, respond to someone else's paper. So I want there to be even distribution of making sure that everybody gets some feedback so that they can use it to move forward. Finish peer review by Friday, and then go back and check your own paper on Friday so that you can use the feedback. So if you're making some final touches on your paper over the weekend, you can integrate what your peers have said before you turn in the final version of the paper. And if you run into problems, let me know. I've seen that some people have been responding to each other on the discussion board, which is great. But if it's not working, just email me and we'll figure it out, okay? From what I understand, you should just be able to look at everyone's posts and then click reply and write somebody like a paragraph of feedback and submit it to them, and then they should be able to see it as well. What to do for peer review? Consider genre. Is it clear which genre this is? Does this call to action have all the genre elements? So this is the most important thing. When you open up your classmate's paper to give them some peer review, is it immediately obvious to you whether it's a research paper versus an opinion piece? And once you make that decision about which genre it is, does it have all of the elements that we discussed in previous videos? So if it's a research paper, does it have a thesis? Is it an MLA style? Is it using those MLA in-text citations for the sources? Do all of the body paragraphs relate back to that thesis? If it's an opinion piece, does it have shorter paragraphs? Is it using a short summary of the source with a hyperlink? Is it sort of establishing the issue in the community first and then moving into the solution later with no thesis, things like that. So this is the biggest thing, is just make sure that you're helping your classmates have the best version of their chosen genre that they can have. Do they have the genre analysis paragraph at the end? So not only are you guys writing the call to action paper, choosing the research paper or the opinion piece, but you have to have that analysis at the end. If your classmate doesn't have that, that should be a big part of the feedback that you give them. Respond to higher order issues rather than lower order issues. So higher order issues all relate to the ideas, right? So things like organization, content, thesis, if it needs one, those are higher order issues. Lower order issues are things like grammar, punctuation, spelling. They're still important, but you should be looking for helping to elevate the ideas of your peers first and foremost. Praise the writer and be kind. So this is a big thing that comes from the piece that we read earlier in the semester, really responding to other students' writing. And the author said to praise just as much as you criticize, right? So tell the people that you're giving peer review to, tell them what you like about the paper. That's so useful. And respond as a peer. So just like really responding to other students' writing says, you don't have to be an editor. You don't have to be like the professor. You're a classmate, right? So give feedback in the way that you would give to a classmate if you were talking to them face to face. Give them feedback as a friend. And be specific about what to change and what you like. Unfortunately, we can't have face-to-face in-class conversations about each other's writing, right? So you have one chance to write them some feedback. Make sure that you're being really clear so that they can use what you give to work on their paper. Okay, peer review, just to reiterate, I just want you guys to make sure that you're giving substantial feedback too. So give each person that you're responding to, each of the two people, give them like a solid paragraph of feedback. And yeah, make sure that everyone in the class is getting feedback on their paper. Okay, reverse outlines. Like I said at the beginning of the video, this is my favorite revision strategy, so I hope that you will try it out. So we often outline our paper before we write. You might be somebody who likes to write down ideas for what am I going to put in each body paragraph? What's the main idea of each body paragraph going to be? What sources am I going to put in each paragraph? That is the typical way that we think of outlining. For reverse outlines, though, you create an outline of a draft that you've already written. So you're looking at this draft and thinking, okay, like what's the main idea of each paragraph? Why should I make one? It helps you see if each paragraph has one main idea and if every sentence relates to that main idea. So if you ever feel like in your own writing that you're not sure if you're staying on topic, that you're not sure if you're staying focused, that you want to tighten things up, this is a great way to help you do it because it helps you look at each paragraph, but also every sentence within each paragraph to really zoom in on ways that you can tighten up your writing. How do I make a reverse outline? Step 1, read your draft. Make a note about the main idea of each paragraph. So in your own writing, you can just sort of look through it and write down notes. What's happening in paragraph 1? What's the main idea of paragraph 2, 3, 4, etc.? And you can do the same thing if you're doing peer review for somebody. Once you start to read the draft, you can just jot down the main idea of each paragraph. When I'm working with students in the writing center, this is often what I'll do when they're reading their paper to me is I'll just write down notes about the main idea of each paragraph, and then I'll use my notes in order to help them make the draft even better. Step 2. So before you start step 2, you're looking at your notes that you've written from step 1. And using those notes, you think, do any paragraphs seem to have more than one main idea? If so, do you want to keep those ideas as one paragraph or split them into 2 paragraphs? So often what will happen is that we have a topic sentence and ideas in a paragraph that talk about one subject, and then maybe midway through the paragraph we'll go off on a new idea or a couple new ideas. Paragraphs should be split where they signal to the reader when you're going to introduce a new big idea. So if you notice that there's multiple main ideas in a paragraph, you probably want to split those up. Step 3, does the order of ideas in your reverse outline make sense? If not, do you want to change the order of ideas in your body paragraphs? So if you look at the reverse outline by itself, does it make sense? Often when we're drafting, the most important ideas will actually end up at the end of the draft because we're thinking through the ideas and what we want to say. So the best stuff will end up at the end. And it's just a quick fix to sort of move it up to the top. And a reverse outline helps you do that moving around. Step 4, do the topic sentences of each paragraph convey the main idea of the paragraph? If not, do you want to revise the topic sentence? So if you notice that the main idea you've written down in the reverse outline is not the same as the topic sentence, if they don't really seem to align with each other, you might want to update your topic sentence because the topic sentence is a mini thesis. It is conveying the main idea of the paragraph. So you want it to be aligned with what you've written in the reverse outline. Step 5, does every sentence in the paragraph relate to the main idea? If not, do you want to move or delete any sentences? And this is where you sort of get into the fine-tune work of looking at each sentence and thinking about whether or not you want to move stuff around. It's very natural when we draft to have extra stuff, to have sentences that need to go somewhere else or that need to be cut, right? And the reverse outline is what helps us find and identify those sentences. Okay, so next steps. By Friday, I want you guys to read 2 of your classmates' rough drafts and reply to their post with feedback on how they can revise, right? So make sure that you're going to the discussions page, reading their papers, giving them some feedback. I really advise that you try this reverse outlining strategy that I just explained, so that you can help give some feedback to them about their organization. Also, over the course of this week, you can try to reverse outline your own paper just to make sure that you feel good about the structure of the paper. And then next week, I want you to submit the final version of the call to action paper. So for my Monday, Wednesday students, your paper's due on Monday. For my Tuesday night class, your paper's due on Tuesday. All right, I'm really looking forward to reading these papers. Let me go over quickly how to submit. So if you're on Blackboard, you go to your class, and then you go to content, you go to Unit 3, call to action, you upload your paper. I don't think you can see because of my camera, but you click submit, and then I'll have your paper. I'm really excited to read these guys. Email me if you have questions or if you need extensions. Otherwise, I hope everyone is doing well, and I look forward to seeing your papers next week. Thanks, guys.